Hello everyone, and welcome to a round 2 match from the Worcester Sheriff. We've got two law dogs facing off against each other here, James on the left and Jonathan on the right. They're both going to grift with Andrew Burton to place bounties. One going on Jake Smiley there, and on the other side going on Zoe. So let's talk starting potties. James on the left, pretty standard. He's got Jake Smiley, Tommy... I forget his surname, Wendy and Andrew, and then on the right we've got Tommy, Philip, Andrew, and then Zoe. So you could be seeing some gadgets from Jonathan. You don't normally see Wendy starting if you're not going for the gadget route, but interesting to see what gadgets he does go for. She can't invent weapon gadgets. She's limited by non-weapon. Oh no, she's going to only invent weapons. Sorry. So Pat's Perch going for James there. So. Until we see some values, it's difficult to say what weapons he might go for. Holy Will Gun, I suppose, could be a popular 6. It's got fast on the draw as well, which is it looks like he may have had a flamethrower there. So, and also Jonathan is starting the Gomorrah Jail, so he's hoping to discard people. Hustings over on the left there for James. So it looks like he's playing 3s and 8s. Lula's Exploit, so possibly 8s for Jonathan. Yes, I mean maybe not. It's difficult to say with Lula's Exploit. The money for the gadgets, it may just be a secondary useful thing, but he may also be running sort of say force field or flamethrowers. Force field actually, I think, quite good with the Gomorrah Jail because that forces a discard. If you tie, so if you can perhaps bounty hunter someone, then or with a force field tie, lose the bounty hunter, they discard someone who's wanted, you get your control point on the Gomorrah Jail, and then you go home with the other dude. So that's an interesting possible strategy there. But stage rate office for James from a little while ago on 6s, so I imagine he's playing 3s, 6s, and 8s. A very good set of cards. So selling your eyes, ready on clubs, fast on the draw, bounty hunter there. So looks like he's going for the bounties and bounty hunting people. Wiley Jenks, another 8. So yes, looks like 3, 6, and 8s for James. Jonathan a bit looks like perhaps 10s, 8s, and 6s, I think. So yes, Holy Will Gun, available the gadgets there. 10, I'm not sure what. I don't think there's any weapon gadgets, is there? Value 10. Teleportation device, isn't it? Is the only one at the moment. So a Joker there for James in that low ball hand, but he's currently on 2 control points. Jonathan on 1. Both on 4 influence, so no immediate threats of losing. But James wins low ball again. That's helping. I think they've both got 1 upkeep. Yes, Zoe on for Jonathan, Wendy for James. So they're making reasonable money anyway without too many deeds. But James is going to be making a lot more money at the moment, which perhaps not actually. It's 5 to 6, so actually they're pretty even with their money. So levels. So that's shotgun onto Wendy. So that's pretty much going to shut down Tommy, Philip, and Andrew for the time being. They're all 3 or lower value, and Wendy's got 3 bullets. So there's a flamethrower. So this looks like the gadgets that are. I think so. Wendy going to town square. I can't imagine Jonathan's going to pick a fight here. Just going to result in a shotgun immediately to the, and probably with Tommy with the flamethrower. So I think he's just at the moment just got to camp at home or try and put Wendy out of position. But as I say, there's not enough control points on the table really to threaten either player at the moment. With the Gomorrah Jail not providing any income, but possible to oppose that, and then you can use that to gain control points, especially if he gets one of those bounty hunters that maybe he gets a draw, he gets a discard, he gets lucky, or just as a fighter, and he can think obviously shotgun's going to ace someone, so that's not going to be able to trigger the Gomorrah Jail. But James here moving his dudes to town square, and I think that's a fairly standard law dog strategy, moving into town square and controlling it. You're protecting your side of the village or town. Sorry, I think Gomorrah's a bit larger than a village, and so because of that, now if he wants to come across, well, Zoe's anyone who's not going to get shotgunned immediately. Anyone who moves into town square is going to get called out, so I'm going to have to go home. Wendy to the Gomorrah jail. Probably would have moved Tommy there. Does allow now a contesting of the town square. I suppose Wendy can still come back. So actually, it's perhaps would have left Wendy in the town square just that she can now move back to James's own deeds. But 3 control points to 0. No chance of losing. I don't think Jonathan's too keen. He's got a kidnapping there. Rafi Hamid fast on the draw. So perhaps 6, 7, 8 for Jonathan. So Andrew moving to town square. Would call him out here, I think, James. Right, so James is going to play Stephen Wiles. Fair play. Probably would have called out Andrew first, but I suppose nothing to lose from Jonathan. He's got. I think so. It sounds like Andrew's having a shootout. So I imagine he's going to get fast on the draw here. Make him a stud, 3 stud, which is reasonable. Although. So just the posse in the town square. So it's Tommy, Andrew, and Jake. So fast on the draw for Andrew. So that's going to make him a 3 stud. And I imagine that's not. So 0 bullets now for Andrew. Can make him a 1 stud, but is that worth the use of the fast on the draw? I'm not sure here. I think it perhaps would pass it up and let Andrew just bite the dust. James possibly hasn't got many other cards in hand. So yeah, so he does pass it up. So it's going to be 5 cards versus 9 for James. So pretty confident here. So, yeah, he's got 4 stud and a draw. So it's unless Jonathan gets very lucky here with his 5 cards off the top of his deck, I think James got better to do, and he's got to get very lucky as well with a non-cheating hand. Because obviously any cheating hand is going to at least improve Tommy's hand rank by. Tommy's going to improve the hand rank by 1, 2 if James doesn't cheat as well. So it's it really just is a throwaway here. He thought he could perhaps get the fast on the draw and get a 3 stud, but James counters with a fast on the draw of his own. So he's now forcing some cards out of his hand and full house cheating against a full house. So actually it's just 4 of a kind on the left, so James up by 1 at the moment. Oh no, possibly up by 2. Yes, up by 2 because he's legal as well. So Andrew getting aced, no resolution play from Jonathan. So he could go to town square here with Tommy, get 3 stud with the flamethrower. Possibly 4 stud with the extra paying 1. I mean, he's 3 stud anyway with Lula's exploit, playing that repeatedly. But it will, if he does leave, and because if that happens, I think if Tommy goes to the town square, I think Wendy just gets pulled in and shotguns Tommy. So I don't think he can call him out. There's no need to shotgun Andrew. I think that was a good play by James there to not shotgun, not bring Wendy in and shotgun Andrew. He wasn't very much of a threat, especially with the fast one draw in his hand. He knew it was unlikely that Jonathan was going to have a good hand. He'd be down to things. So yeah, Philip goes over to the hustings, and Stephen's going to probably call that out. So Tommy going to the town square. So imagine that's just if Stephen does call out Philip, that can bring in Tommy. Well, Tommy's been called out in the town square. I think he's going to have to go home booted. Yes, you can't risk that. Wendy will just get pulled straight in and shotgun Tommy, and then I think would be pretty much game. Then Stephen fights off Philip. Philip 2 stud against a 1 stud if that goes horribly wrong. I mean, and Tommy and Jake could move in anyway. So if Philip did die, it would be a thing. So fast on the draw on to Philip. So it's 2 stud versus 1 stud. So yeah, so fairly even here. But a good chance here to get rid of Stephen, and if you can ace him, that's really what he wants here. Just discarding Stephen, not going to be very useful, obviously, because I doubt James is going to pay for Stephen next turn. He's thing. So three of a kind versus something that was more than three of a kind. So that has Ace Stephen. So I don't know if he's got any more copies in his deck, James. I mean, we've seen a Wiley Jenks, so possibly not running that many copies of Stephen. So you're probably not too concerned. But still the 4 influence, Jonathan. I don't think he can lose this turn. Yeah, there's only 3 control points on the table, so it's not an issue for losing. Perhaps here would. Yeah, so Tommy's going to go and test that deed, get the money back, which I think is a good play there. He wants to get the 2 income from Hustings. He's now going to have 6 income minus 1, so 5 income for James. So on to the next day, low ball. And no, I think just redrawing hands first, sorry. But then we're going to go. No, we're having a shootout, I think. It's Tommy versus Philip. 3 cards in Jonathan's hand, sorry. So could cheat here, could not. But I mean, one draw there's a chance of pulling off something good. We've seen Jonathan pull the full house when he had just 5 cards off the top. So he's got to know not cheat again is the problem, because otherwise, and that's probably a reason for James not to cheat here. He'll get the +2 hand ranks, so unless he's a very large differential between his 2 hands, I think he wants to go with the legal hand. So just looking through discard pile, see what actions he's got. I think I can understand why Philip's gone after the Hustings. I think he wanted to stop the loss of influence for unboosted dudes at home, but I think perhaps he was always going to risk losing. He had a fast on the draw first time, but I don't think he expected James to play again. So it's a cheating full house versus a cheating full house. So Tommy up by 1. It is public, so Philip's not going to get a bounty. So we can't use the Gamora Jail. That would have been a very nice bonus, because that would have won him the game. He'll be on 4 control points to 3 influence, but still now 3 control points to 3 influence. So James very much in the strong position at the moment, but lots of money generation for Jonathan. He's playing 8, so he may have his own copies of Stephen Wiles. There is a Holy Wheel gun, so yes, he does run. He's running the Holy Wheel gun flamethrower. That's an interesting concept for a deck. You don't often. I think perhaps the problem would be the club's options. So you've only really got fast on the draw, kidnapping, maybe pin down as well. Actually, that's not terrible. The 6, 7, 8. So it looks like 3, 6, and 8 on the left against 6, 7, 8 on the right. So full house against not anywhere near a full house. So James is going to win low ball again, and that's a bit of Jonathan's undoing at the moment. Is he's not while he's making a lot of money, James is constantly winning low ball, and because he's able to win low ball, he's gets the first action. And you saw the example earlier, he's playing the fast on the draw that killed Andrew. If I think being the other way round, it would have been a fast on the draw from Jonathan, and perhaps that's helped him in that instance. But he wants the first shooter play, especially something in this instance, because it's the only way to stop Wendy from killing Tommy. He needs a fast on the draw on the Wendy to reduce her bullets down to a reasonable level. Well, down so that she can't just shotgun Tommy. At the moment, Tommy is shotgun follow to Wendy. There's nothing he can do about that, and so any moving Tommy to the town square, contesting a deed, is going to get him killed. So Mortimer Parsons for James. So I don't think he's going to be using him for his mad scientist skill, but Blake Ranch, so more money for Jonathan. And it looks like selling your eyes on James's hand there, so I think he's really just looking for a control point at the moment, and if he can find a control point, then he's going to win. But shotgun and Mortimer, so even more bad news for Tommy. James is going to boot both his dues to give Mortimer a bounty. And that's obviously going to allow him to not lose the Hustings. I think I've been quite lazy here in my influence casting, not taking account of Hustings, but while you never should be able to win with a hustings with unbooted dudes at home, because if you're in check, you have the opportunity to move. You move to the town square, you get called out, go back home booted, and you're no longer losing the influence for hustings. So while it's a good deed, hustings, I don't think it's the ability is limited at best. I mean, very rarely are you ever unbooted at home. And there's unless you have a way to force a shootout. To say, for example, with the Arsenal, where you could call out a booted dude at home, then that is perhaps useful. Sorry, I wanted dude at home, but you're very unlikely. It's very difficult to force a call out with someone moving to the town square, that they then just can't move home booted again. Now, obviously, it's good that they're moving home back booted. They're not going to be able to contest deeds, but I think in this game it's unlikely that Jonathan can recontest too many deeds. With James controlling the town square with so many dudes, he can. I think so. Mortimer is going to put a bounty on to Zoe. Yeah, possibly would have done it on Tommy, but I don't think. I think Zoe not a bad idea. He gets more money if when Zoe dies. He does need to kill Zoe. In order to win, and Tommy is likely to get aced by either the shotgun on Mortimer or the shotgun on Wendy. So low ball hand again, and James still in a very commanding position, I would say. While Jonathan does get a lot of money, I'm not sure how stacked his deck is of dudes. We've not seen him play many dudes. He's had Raffy in his hand for a little while. 6s, 7s and 8s. 6s are quite poor for dudes in Lord Dogs and neutrals. I think there's Bobo. Not much else, I don't think. I think there's Dr. Ardman, but I think that could be it. 7s, reasonable, I think. In Law Dogs, I'll just see if I can look them up here. But yes, Drew Bowman and Rafi Hamid, a couple of neutrals, Androcles and Roderick. So if you go for the Mad Scientists, I think that's a reasonable value, and perhaps you could see some of those. But they're all very low Mad Scientist ratings. I think only Zoe can actually invent the flamethrower, because I think that's. It's me trying to type into Doomtown DB. I don't know why Flamethrower has a hyphen in the middle. So on 6, 7, 8, only Zoe is going to be able to invent the Flamethrower by default. But now, not even anymore. She's the only deputy. The only deputy there is Tommy. So there's Raffy. That's going to extend this game a little bit. Getting Jonathan back up to 5 influence. So as soon as the 4th control point comes down from James, the 5th influence comes out from Jonathan. And I think that's wise. I mean, yes, okay, he doesn't get to cycle his hand, but Raffy is an upkeep. He doesn't want to use the upkeep when he doesn't have to. Now Raffy also has the flamethrower, so that's going to, while Tommy's a little useless, but Winchester onto Tommy, so he gets +1 bullet and can get another bullet if he boots, but I think he's just going to be happy with the +1 bullet. And it also means now at the moment Zoe can invent flamethrowers again with guaranteed success. James is going to pass. I think he's just cycling through his deck at the moment, trying to find some control points. Raffy going to come to the town square. Mortimer calls out Raffy. Raffy does accept, so it's going to be. So I think he's just going to. He's going to bring Wendy in, or is he? I think. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much. But he does give him the does give him the 2-3 studs. So if one of them gets taken out, and so James is going to pass. I imagine Jonathan here is going to. Oh no! Sorry, no. No, I don't think James has passed. I think he's just considering what he's going to do. So I think looks like he's got a sun in your eyes there. Yep. So that is going to be very disappointing for Raffy. He was going to be 3 stud, but is now 2 draws. So he's going to be a lot of draw now, but he's still going to be very much a a draw, which is so yeah. So he's going to be draw 4. So yes, Rafi, and it's going to be, I think, so it's 4 stud and 2 draw, or 4 stud and a draw versus 4 draw. I think it's. But Jonathan's proven here he can pull out full houses with 5 cards. We've seen that quite a lot in low ball. We've seen it in the other shootouts. So I don't think it by all means is a sure thing here that Rafi is going to die. And obviously by moving Wendy to Town Square, he has got Gamora Jail back for the time being. But if he does, so long as he doesn't lose Mortimer, or there's Jake as well. So Jake can go and take that. But it does mean he probably doesn't want to lose Mortimer if he can. I think here you probably would lose Wendy first. She's booted. The opportunity you can win this turn. Tommy couldn't contest, only Zoe. So and Zoe would be very low on the bullets against three stud on James's side, and you'd hope with 3 stud you get something of a reasonable. I think so. Cheating 4 of a kind versus cheating full house. Cheating resolutions here. So this will hurt in the morning. So they're both cheating. No Tommy anymore. I don't know quite what happened. What happened? What did happen to Tommy? He must have died somewhere, I think, or didn't get paid upkeep. I thought he was at Hustings when I last saw him, but he's there in the discard pile, so he must have got discarded somehow. So it's now 3 of a kind versus cheating full house. I don't think Jonathan's got any cheating resolutions. Notes that's Rafi down. He's aced, and the flamethrower is gone to the discard pile, and Zoe's not able to guarantee to invent it. I'm not sure she wants really to invent too much at the moment. I mean, booting her is going to be quite costly. Only saving grace here is that if Mortimer does move to Gamora Jail, I don't think. So yeah, the Winchester going on to Zoe because the shotgun's still a danger to. So Zoe moving to Hustings. Yeah, but yes, I think that's could go and contest. I'm just trying to think if there's any way to win here, guaranteed. So Jake could move to Hustings, but I think they're just going to both pass out. I don't think. I think Jake. So yes, Jake can move to Hustings. Then Zoe couldn't call her out, and Tommy would have to come across. And then Tommy can't move anywhere. Mortimer goes to the Gamora Jail. No, yes, I don't think. Not without a fight. Jake moves to Hustings. Jonathan passes. He'd be in check, so he couldn't pass. He'd have to, I think, move to Gamora Jail. I think yes. Then Mortimer goes to the Gamora Jail. Tommy moves to Hustings. Oh no, I think it probably could have. I think it would have been So I think Jake had to move to Hustings. I think then Tommy has to move because if he doesn't, it's game anyway because the Hustings is back in James' control. So Tommy's worth no influence at sundown. So it's 2. So Tommy has to move. I think probably to Gamora Jail. Then Mortimer moves into Gamora Jail. That's 4 control points to 3 influence. Tommy then has to move to Hustings. Mortimer then moves back to the Hustings. Andrew moves to Hustings, and then Andrew calls out Tommy. Tommy gets shotgunned by Mortimer. It's Zoe versus Mortimer, Andrew, and Jake, and that's probably game. I mean, one casualty each, and it's all over. So Pearly's Palace for James. So he's on 3 control points, 3 influence, and now he's got his 2 movement influence. So General Store from Jonathan. Not. This is the danger with Jonathan playing control points here. I think perhaps he's both sides now have very few dudes. Only Jake, Mortimer, and Wendy can contest anywhere. But yes, Wendy moves straight into the General Store, so that's now check for Jonathan. And he does have some money left, so perhaps he's got a dude. And I think that's what he really needs at the moment is more dudes. He's got a lot of income. He's got 3 base, 6, 8 income, minus just the 1 from Zoe. So it's but. So just discussing hustings, but James has got no one at home at the moment, so he's not in any trouble. Yeah, so I don't think Jonathan wanted to play that deed really. I think because it's just giving James an extra control point to go and take, and that's what he's done here. He's put him in check. Mortimer can move to Gamora jail, and okay, yes, he's got 2 dudes out of position. Even Jake can move to Gamora jail, because the problem is Tommy can't go and contest anything at the moment when Mortimer is in the town square. As soon as things, so there's Bobo. So that could extend this game a little bit longer with the 1 stud. Yeah, so I think it's moved Jake to Gamora jail. That's then 5-1. He's then in check again. So Mortimer's going to Gamora jail. Yeah, so Bobo's over to Pearly's Palace. Back to 4-2 still. Not end of the game, but I think Jake here can go over to Pearly's Palace. Call out Bobo, or maybe Andrew with a fast on the draw. I can't see what James has got in his hand at the moment, so difficult to tell what he's got there. But I suppose that moving Mortimer back is. Oh no, you can move one on the back because you move Jake over to Pearly's Palace. You move a shotgun over. Well, you move Jake to Pearly's Palace, you get the control point back. Forces Zoe actually to move over, because just moving Tommy as well, Jake would still control it. So Zoe would have to move somewhere, or Tommy would have to get another control point. You could then still move Andrew Burton. So Mortimer going to Pearly's Palace. That's also, I think, a fair. Probably not. It's a Tommy to Town Square. Surely it's a call out here from Andrew Burton, although that would move then. If he does accept, then Wendy moves to Town Square. So it's Tommy versus Andrew Burton and Jake. Not moving Wendy in here. I think I would have. That would kill the influence. And then he can move Jake into Gamora jail or the general store. So it's just Andrew and Jake versus Tommy. But it's got 3 money left. Jonathan, he's perhaps got another dude to play. Just seeing. Probably now can no longer pull Zoe into fights because booting Zoe in the town square is just a recipe for a loss. He needs those control points. He needs to control James' control points. And then perhaps this is why playing the general store there. It's forced Wendy out of position. But no, I don't think actually Tommy accepted that call out. I think that was Jonathan thinking there, but he's realised he's got to go home booted. So now if he can kill Bobo, that would be game. But James is passing there, but actually I think he. So James just here thinking what to do. I think he just wants to move Jake to the Gamora jail. That gets him the 5 control points he needs. Yes, Gamora jail is worth a control point by itself. Won't have any extra control points. He doesn't need the extra control points. One is enough. Then Zoe can't go and defend that. So he's going to pass. I think he could have won there, just moving Jake to the Gamora jail. Because Zoe goes back to defend it, but that's just an evens. Because she boots to go home. She boots to go to the jail. And that gets control of the jail back, but then loses control of Hustings, so it's no control point swing. Bobo's already booted. Tommy's already booted. So unless he's got 3 money for a dude, Stephen Wiles really is the only one. But if he does come over to the Gamora jail, call out Jake. Jake goes home booted. So 4 of a kind for Jonathan, full house for James, so James gonna win low ball again. So lots of money for both players here. I think it's 7 for. Well, I think he's perhaps, unless he's got a lot of influence in his hand, I think he's got to try and keep Bobo here. But it's 4 upkeeps. That would be 5 upkeeps. So he'll make 2 money. So. He's gained a lot of money, so I don't think he is keeping Bobo Jonathan, but for the moment he has stayed, but I think he shouldn't be staying. It's difficult to tell. But yeah, really the problem here is for Jonathan has been the shotguns on both Mortimer and Wendy. 3 bullets has knocked out and stops Andrew. Oh yes, so there's Bobo going. Judge Harry, some sort of experience for James, so he's going to get even further away from the possibility of losing. I think now it's just a case of manoeuvring around to get all the control points. He can contest against Zoe with Hustings so now Zoe can now not go anywhere that the judge then can't follow up. So I think still the same move to win. I think still applies. It's moved Jake to the Gamora jail. Tommy may come over. I think you boot Wendy over. Tommy then has to move somewhere else, and anything there will then boot him. So I think it's still the same manoeuvre. Move Jake to the Gamora jail. So Circle M for Jonathan, and while I question the general store play, I think Circle M Ranch is that's less of an issue. He wants it to draw cards. I think he needs to draw cards, but Judge is leading a job against Zoe. I think that's the right thing to do. It is using. He's bringing in Andrew and Jake. Perhaps didn't want to bring in Jake there. I think you could. Okay, yes, it's. So fasten the draw on Andrew. He's going to be 3 stud, and Zoe is going to be so pin down Andrew. So he's only going to be he's going to be 0 stud if he's the shooter, but he's going to be 1's 3 stud if he's not the shooter. So I think you go here to Bounty Hunter as the shooter and give Andrew a bullet. So I think Zoe really needs to boot here for the Winchester. So yes, she is. So Sun Your Eyes, that's another. You hate to see it, really, don't you? From Jonathan, there's not a lot you can do when you've got all these methods of making dudes into studs, only to see them immediately get passed up by a Sun in Your Eyes, and it's just you get the stud and then back down to draw and hardly any bullets, and it's a very powerful card. Sun in Your Eyes. It's the turning someone into a draw is, and not only that, but the -2 bullets as well is a big hindrance. So from a 2 stud to a 0 draw is a massive swing in cards, and especially in quite tightly structured decks where you here, in case like here as well, he probably doesn't want a cheating hand against the Law Dogs. We've seen if this will hurt in the morning. He knows James is playing anti-cheat. He's got some anti-cheating cards. He's probably got one in his hand. But even if he hasn't, he loses by a couple of hand ranks. It's still the gunslinger's going to go, and the job. They're all going to go home booted from the job. So it's just I mean, he really wanted those studs to perhaps draw into good cards. I think both players at this point in time now have lost all their both their jokers. So I don't think either of them has jokers outstanding to play. So what are they going to come up with here? The only thing that's so it's full house versus not a full house. So he's drawn his Philip there from earlier. That's not what he wants to see, is it? In your hand, those discarded dudes very rarely from your starting posse are on value, and to see them in a draw hand come up again is quite annoying. So it's just Tommy left, the one influence. It's looking pretty dire for Jonathan, but he's circling him. Only Mortar at the moment is available. More. So it's another control point. Jan Lee's could be Jonathan's saving grace here. If he can get control of that, but he's got to move Tommy instantly. Although there's no way to call Tommy out, but Mortimer just move over there. So Mortimer getting Jonathan on his own. So it's yes, Jonathan is going to give a Winchester to Mortimer. I think he's just got to go for the shootout, hasn't he? So Mortimer moving to town square. I think James should use the Anleys here. Well, should have used it already, but I don't think it matters. Mortimer. No, because Tommy could go and contest the deed as soon as Mortimer boots. Tommy can contest the deed. So yeah, Mortimer off to Jan Lees. But Mortimer is going to go and contest that himself, so he's going to take control of that back. I think that's a reasonable play. He stays, forces Mortimer to move elsewhere. I think they can only get now 2 control points. Yeah, so I think he's still. I don't think there's much here. He needs to basically kill Mortimer, but that would still leave James on 6 influence. I think he's got to get the judge. So Tommy moved over. He's come over to Pearlie's Palace, but so yeah, James is now using Anne Lees to. I think he gives Andrew Burton influence. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, I can't see what Jonathan can do here. It's just too many control points on James's side. Not enough influence on Jonathan's side. Just 3 influence. There's five deeds on James's side of the town, all the control points. So you'd be left with 3, and then Wendy's left over. So it's going to be Mortimer versus Mortimer. I don't think this is gonna. I don't think this can change things because it's still 5 control points to. And at worst, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 control points to 3 influence. So, and unless he could get rid of the judge and Jake as well, or I think just maybe the judge by himself before left. No, it'd be 1, 2. Yeah, that would give him an opportunity, especially here if he can get a discard. He could get the extra point on Gamora Jail, so it could turn around Johnson, but I don't think. But even though even to get rid of the judge, you'd have to have a kidnapping, which I have seen in Jonathan's hand. But problem is, by playing the kidnapping, he's going to go home booted, and he's not going to control the 2 deeds he's on. Would it be enough though? I think perhaps if he used Mortimer to lead a job against the judge with kidnapping, he'd have 1. So he wins this here against Mortimer. Gets the Gamora Jail. So it's cheating 4 of a kind versus cheating full house. So Mortimer goes home booted and loses 2 influence, and that's actually a very nice play. No threat of losing Mortimer to anything there. He doesn't mind about losing the influence. He's got 7 still with the judge. If it obviously been tighter, actually, sorry, yes, the Mortimer also loses his influence, and the other Mortimer I think should go home booted. Or should he? Yeah, so I think they both should go home booted and have no influence. Although it does say the shootout immediately ends, so perhaps James is going home first, stops the other Mortimer from losing any influence. That's an interesting question I'm going to have to ask on the rules for him, because it does stop Mortimer losing his influence, I think. So I think all the traits trigger. I think you have to do reacts first, then all traits. But yes, that is game. Jonathan not having any other dudes, and not much else he could do. So a good win there for James, and really he's won there by just playing lots of deeds and controlling the town square, and forced Jonathan out of home into bad fights. And there's not really a lot he can do. So thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe and all those other YouTuber type things. And I'll hope you'll be back soon with another video very shortly with round 3. And I think we'll continue the gadget theme, as we've seen a lot of in Worcester. So thanks very much.